If you feel addicted to somebody, you are not crazy. You might feel fucking crazy, but you're not crazy. And this is exactly why. Insert codependency. And you're probably like, what even is codependency? Back up. I have a little story for you. When I was way back in the day going to therapy in my early 20s, I had this therapist that said to me, "Oh, Carla, you're codependent." And I was like, okay, And the perfectionist in me, the people pleaser in me was like, I'm not going to ask the therapist right now what that means. I feel like I need to know what that means. So I'm going to go home and Google it. And when I Googled it, all of a sudden I realized, textbook, this is me. Okay, real talk, they say up to 90% of us are codependent. And that is something that I found when I was doing research for my book, Contagious Love, Break Free from Codependency for Damn Good. Because I was like, you know what? How many of us are codependent? What is this? What does it even look like? And before we get into all of that, I want to talk a little bit more that we're not just going to talk about codependency. We're going to talking about coming and orgasms. Yes. That is a real thing and a real segment that we're going to do on Carla Turned On right now. Well, not right meow, but in a little bit first. We are obviously going to talk about codependency, and then we're going to be diving into what sex looks like with boundaries. I know. You're like, well, I feel like I know boundaries. No, especially if you find yourself to be codependent or you find yourself to just kind of get swept away. And I don't care if you're a dude or a woman. I'm going to tell you right now that codependency does not discriminate. And boundaries play a huge part, and codependency with sex. All right, so we're going to be diving into that in our taco about it. Welcome to Carla Turned On, where dating and relationships get real, sex gets talked about, and the BS gets left on red. Let's get turned on. But back to that whole piece around codependency. So what the fuck is codependency? All right, I know I'm not going to just sit here and talk the entire time. I'm obviously going to explain it. So the way that I look at codependency is losing yourself to somebody else. Codependency is rooted in low self-esteem. Now, here is the crazy thing. You might be thinking, well, if somebody has low self-esteem, Carla, that's not me. I've got a good career. I've got friends. I've got a life. I've got it going on. I have it all together. Great. That also can be codependency because, no, not having it all together can be codependency. But this idea that you have to have this low self-esteem and that has to reflect externally into your life isn't true. I was really codependent, and as a result, I would pick these partners that I felt like I had to fix. I loved a good fixer-upper, okay? Keep the fixing-upping for a house and renovations. Don't put that into other people. It never goes well. I can tell you as somebody who's done it many times, then that is insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Yeah, I can tell you right now that that wasn't cool, and it really didn't take me anywhere. It wasn't until I got out of codependency where I was like, oh, this is how you connect. This is boundaries. Oh, these are red flags. Oh, if there's a red flag, I shouldn't paint it green. Oh, why didn't somebody tell me that before? But the truth is that I looked like I had it together. On the inside, though, I was a highly motivated codependent. So I was somebody who was going to make everything look amazing, get shit done. I'm still a get shit done person, but my motives have changed. But my motives at the time is because I wanted you. Yes, you. I didn't care who you were. I wanted you to see me as perfect. I wanted you to see me as great because therefore I was worthy. If I could get other external validation, then I was okay. And I felt that way in relationships. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel enough. I felt unlovable. And so if I could fix somebody, if I could find somebody and fix them, then all of a sudden they would see how lovable and worthy I was. I felt like I had to earn this type of love. I'm going to say it right now. That shit ain't healthy. It ain't healthy at all, okay? So, yeah. But if you find yourself doing this, you're not alone. And I have coached so many clients who have struggled with codependency, who have struggled with finding fixer-uppers. And look, I'm a testament to today. I can tell you right now, I broke free from codependency for damn good in 2015. Okay, I have not been in an active codependent relationship since. I am very proud to say that because I work very much on myself to this day because I don't look at as codependency as like, oh, you graduate. Like you don't have it anymore. No, my codependency was rooted in childhood, in a foundation lacking self worth, lacking self esteem. And so I learned some cool survival techniques that I brought into relationships in adulthood that just didn't work for me anymore. But here's the thing codependency can look different for different types of people. You might find that all of a sudden, oh my gosh, you are attracted to somebody who is an alcoholic, active in their addiction. Or you might find it's not alcoholism, maybe it's sex or gambling or some kind of food addiction. Okay, so you see this pattern come up over and over again. Or maybe you find the person who always is having mental health crises or always having mental health issues that they're not taking care of. Now, this is the key with codependency is that it's almost like you become a magnet for people who aren't as stable, who aren't as well, because it's your job to go in as a superhero, men or women, it doesn't matter, and go in and save the day. That's exhausting because then what you end up doing is you end up neglecting yourself. You end up neglecting your own needs. And as a result, your life is now revolving around this person. Okay. So now you have become 110% completely mood dependent on them. Yes. So I'm going to tell you a little story. All right. Back in the day when I was in a relationship previously, it was codependent. All right. It's kind of a given here, but it was a codependent relationship. And at the time, the person that I was dating had some issues. All right. There were some bigger issues coming up with them. No, there were a lot of issues coming up with them, but what I tried to do is to manage their moods. There was like these high highs, these low lows in the relationship. And I thought, okay, I can help stabilize them. I can help get them to a place where they're not going to these, angry spots and they can come back down and they can be happy. But if they were in that angry episode or they were upset about something, I felt like it was my responsibility to jump in there and mitigate their emotions to help them calm down. That's not healthy. Okay, I am not responsible. You are not responsible for anybody else's emotions. And if you're a codependent, a lot of times things are mood dependent. You aren't happy until that other person or place or thing or whatever, because it doesn't have to just be romantic relationships. It could be relationships with your parents, it could be relationships with siblings. It could be relationships with coworkers or friends. All of a sudden somebody, is upset with you and you're like, okay, like I don't feel okay until like I know they're not upset with me anymore. Even if it wasn't your fault, you still take on this responsibility. And so your mood is so dependent on other people's moods, right? So you're living your whole life now. Your happiness is revolving around what this person thinks of you or if this person responds or doesn't respond. Now, this part. Okay. This part is controversial, but I am going to say it because I firmly believe in it. If you are codependent, you are a manipulator. Now, I am not saying that you are doing this in an abusive way or a narcissistic way. What codependents do when it comes to manipulation is they are doing the whole song and dance. I need you to be okay so that I'm okay. And if you're not okay, then I need to make it okay. So I'm going to do whatever the fuck I can right now to make the situation okay and make everything happy and everything is great so that you're okay. Because then if you're okay, then I'm okay. That is toxic as hell. And that is the song and dance of the manipulation around codependency. For example, maybe you're dating somebody who drinks a lot and you start counting the drinks and you're like, oh, here we are. We're on to beer number 5. This isn't good. Oh gosh. Okay. They're getting okay. All right. So then you're like, okay, I'm just going to like cut them off or I'm going to like distract them and we're going to go over here so they stop drinking so much. Right. Because you feel uncomfortable. There's discomfort going on. And if they have a drinking problem, then the 5 beers probably isn't just 5 beers. You go home and they pass out. That also might indicate instability. You don't know, like, when's the shoe going to drop? They're unpredictable. It's walking on eggshells during this time. You don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to get upset with you? I don't know, right? So here's the thing. You're doing whatever you can to make the outcome in your favor to make sure they're okay. Because if they're not okay, then you're not okay. That is enmeshment. That is codependency. Now, here's the deal. Maybe you grew up in a household where there was a lot of family dysfunction. And sometimes we think that family dysfunction is normal because that is all you ever knew. It's all you ever heard of. It's your experience. Why? What is healthy? But if you find yourself in this repetitive pattern and this repetitive state of being in these unhealthy relationships, they're probably codependent. I always say if anybody is abusive or drinking or their mental health isn't being taken care of, right? All of these things can lead to codependent relationships because now you're so wrapped up and consumed with trying to fix and help them out. So how the hell do you get out of codependency? Hey, real quick, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want dating support, don't forget to look in the notes below where you can learn all about my guides and how to work with me. And if you want to follow me on my socials, you can find me anywhere at I am Carla Romo. Let's get turned on. All right. So I'm going to tell you right now, you need to get a life. I know I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say that. I talk about that in my book, Contagious Love, where I'm like, okay, it's time to get a life because it is the truth. You have been living for other people, whether you see that or not. And that is the codependency talking. If you are at a point where you're like, no, Carla, like that's terrible. Like I could never leave this person or I could never create a boundary like that because that would just be abandoning them and leaving them entirely. Okay, at what expense? Genuinely, like what expense? Your expense. That's at your expense, your happiness. So here's the thing, okay? You need to get a life. You need to get hobbies that you like. You need to stick to those hobbies that you like, create boundaries. So this looks like also with dating. I'm going to tell you right now, when you are dating, I had this little boundary that I would implement, and I help clients with this too. So what I would do, okay, is I would not reschedule anything. I had a full life in between being single, right? In between being single, in between relationships, whatever. I had a full life either way, in relationships, out of relationships, dating, not dating, whatever. I will say this though. Anytime a guy would ask me out, and if I knew I had to wake up early for a workout class or anything like that, I'd be like, oh, you know what? 7 p.m. doesn't work for me, but I could do 6 p.m. I have an early morning. Does that work for you? So I would no longer just kind of like go along for the ride, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to please this person. People please. I don't want to like seem too needy or I don't want to seem like just annoying up front. Like I want to seem like easygoing and cool. No, I'm allowed to have my own priorities, my own life. And the idea is you have this amazing Sunday. Okay. Like, and if you're I don't know, dairy free or vegan, whatever. We can do non-dairy ice cream. Okay. So just let's go with that. Okay. But you have the Sunday and the Sunday is your life. You've got the ice cream, you got friends, the chocolate sauce, you got, I don't know, I'm a caramel girl. I don't know why I said chocolate sauce. I'm like betraying myself right now, but I digress. You've got peanuts. I like to put peanuts. I know you can judge me or, oh God, candied pecans. I love a good candied pecan. Okay. I'm digressing. Some whipped cream. All right, that is my life. I've got hobbies. I have my career that I'm after. I have friends. I have family. I have things that I like to just do for myself that's intellectually stimulating. I make sure I take care of myself financially. I make sure I take care of my health. I work out. I make sure I eat well. Okay, all of those things, right? It's getting a life. You're creating a sustainable self-care life, okay? That is so important. I'm also going to throw out spirituality in there. Spirituality has been a big part around breaking free from codependency for me. And I am not religious, okay? I don't believe that you should have to follow one thing or this is better than the other or this is the right way. Bullshit. Do what works for you. If it's religion, great. If it's spirituality, great. But I don't believe in telling anybody that they should live their life a certain way. All right. So I'm going to throw that piece, a little disclaimer out there. But the idea is that you have this amazing Sunday. Okay. Now we all want Sundays. And the relationship, the person is just the cherry. Do you need the fucking cherry? No, we don't need the fucking cherry. But the cherry just kind of makes it look really pretty and kind of just, yeah, like looks really nice, you know? But we don't have to have the cherry. We're good with everything else. That is what codependency robs from you. Codependency is saying that partner, that relationship has to be the whole damn Sunday. It has to be everything. But getting out of codependency is creating a life, self-care, hobbies. I mean, have you ever taken yourself out to eat alone? That was a really big thing for me. I'll use myself personally. Again, we're using a lot of examples here as a codependent, but I will tell you right now, I could not sit alone for a meal prior to breaking free from codependency. I was like, "Oh my god, people are judging me. They're looking at me." I mean, it's the same reason I was a serial monogamous dater. I wanted relationships. I wanted to be in them so that other people, "Oh, okay, cool, she's got it together. She can connect in relationships," because I was so insecure I would never find somebody. I was so insecure I wasn't going to be lovable, which was bullshit, and that was the codependency talking. But we also have to look at those negative thoughts, and that's hard. That's a hard place to go to. I work with clients all the time around those negative thoughts. I truly believe that those negative thoughts are some of the biggest blocks in your life. They really are, and research has that to back it. When we believe these things, we create that as our narrative. We create choices in our lives. We choose where we live, our career paths, who we're friends with, who we're in relationships with, based off of that narrative. And if you can start to reshape that narrative, then you can start to take back your life. And codependency is no longer ruling it. And I will say this, that if you are interested and you're like, "Oh my God, Carla, this is me. Like, I am a codependent," zero shame. Okay. 110% zero shame. I work with clients all the time. And if you're interested in working together, you can go to the show notes or go to carlaromo.com, but you can apply for my coaching program one-on-one or an Ask Me Anything, because this shit you don't have to do alone. And it can feel like you have to do it alone because it's a lot of shame. I've been there, like, "Oh my God, there's something wrong with me. I'm defective." But it wasn't until all of a sudden one day I woke up and was like, I'm the common denominator. I keep being in these toxic relationships. I'm not the partner that's the toxic one per se, right? I'm not the one that's abusing my partner. I'm not the one that's drinking too much. I'm not the one that's having suicidal ideation. And look, this shit is real. And there's no judgment around people who have alcoholism, because I look at that truly as a disease, who struggle with their mental health. Okay. Like there's no judgment. Seriously, there's no judgment. But what is important to recognize is that if you're the one trying to change or fix them, you're that common denominator, right? It's easy to point your finger. Oh, they had the drinking problem. Oh, they were abusive. But what was going on with me? Why was I choosing them? And once I was, oh God, humility. Once I realized I was the common denominator, I was like, fuck that. I'm getting out of this shit. And I was able to break free from codependency. So you're not screwed if you're like, "Oh my God, this is me. I need help." There's an absolute way out. And I can tell you today, my life is amazing and looks so, so very different. And my husband and I do not have a codependent relationship at all. Instead, we very much value our autonomy in our relationship, our own friends, our own hobbies, hobbies that we like to do together, but we don't have to constantly be enmeshed in a relationship. So you can fucking do this too. All right, let's get into boundaries, baby. Okay, boundaries play a massive role. Yes, we're talking about it. We are talking about coming and orgasms right now when it comes to sex and boundaries. I'm going to say this straight up. When you are codependent, you do not have boundaries, okay? You might feel like you have boundaries. Those might be rules. Those might be called ultimatums. There is a big difference between rules and ultimatums and boundaries. Boundaries are 110% self-care. They are to protect you, and they are bendable, not because somebody crossed the boundary, because you no longer need the boundary. All right, that is the key here when we look at boundaries. And some people were told that boundaries are not safe. And when I say told, you're not explicitly told. Sometimes that's through past behavior, things like that, that somebody punished you for speaking up, speaking your truth, all of that. But the reality is, when it comes to boundaries, that you have to take care of you at the end of the day. This is your self-protective bubble. And if somebody crosses the boundary, this part's hard. It is up to you to uphold the boundary. So somebody crosses it, you can't just yell at them, "You crossed my boundary, this is it. You are an asshole," or whatever. You have to take a step back and go, "Oh, what do I need to do to uphold this boundary?" But the reality is too, when it comes to sex and codependency, if you're a codependent, you are a people pleaser. And what I mean by that is, if you note that you're saying yes to sex, you're exhausted, you have a long day, the guy that you're going on the date with is like trying to make moves and you're like, "I don't really want to have sex, but I feel bad, or I feel like they're gonna not like me anymore. I feel like they're gonna go away from me if I say no. Ugh, fine, I'll have sex." And this is men and women. I want to be very clear here. People always talk about men as having this crazy, amazing sex drive and that women are there to please. Well, that's bullshit. I've actually had opposites where I've had a lot of women who tend to be hornier than their partners or the person that they've been going on dates with. And the men are like, oh, well, I mean, I need boundaries around this too because for me, I don't need to have sex 5 times a week. For me, maybe, I don't know, once a week is fine. How are we going to talk and communicate this? When you're codependent, you're trying to please the other person. So it doesn't matter what gender you are. You're trying to make this person happy and you feel guilty or you feel bad in any way saying no. Well, that's not attraction, right? That has nothing to do with being attracted to somebody or chemistry. That has to do with what is the narrative you are telling yourself around those boundaries. So when I look at boundaries when it comes to sex, I think it is so fucking important to create sustainable boundaries. And what I look at with sustainable is going in with a plan. So if you're dating, I always ask clients, when do you want to have sex with somebody? Are you the type of person to wait until you get to know somebody? Do you not care? Like, you need to know that about yourself going into it so you can create boundaries of, hey, we start making out. Things are really getting hot and heated, and it's like, this is kind of fun, but I don't really want to have sex yet. I mean, it feels great, but I'm like, eh. So you let the person know, hey, just letting you know, like, we're not going to have sex tonight. I like to take things slower. That person, anybody fucking healthy, goes, oh, totally respect that. No problem at all. Anyone unhealthy goes, and this is a big red flag. Oh, come on. Or no problem. And then later on continues to try. No, that is bullshit. And that is not okay. Consent is sexy. So that can look like that with dating. In relationships, it can look like having a conversation with your partner. It is so important to say, hey, let's sit down. What are your needs when it comes to sex? How often do you want to have sex? How often do you not want to have sex? Okay, look, I'm really exhausted Monday through Friday. So could we save sex for the weekend? And if your partner's like, I'd like to try to have sex like during the week, then you can say, okay, I'm pretty tired then. So like, how can we work on this? Like, what is it that we can do? Or maybe it just comes down to you can't meet every need of your partner. And that is the reality. And if you're a codependent, you're trying to meet a need and beyond. And you're probably even creating little needs that don't even exist for your partner because you're like, I can't let them down. I can't let them down. The reality is they're not going to be able to meet every single need. And that is just the truth of being in a healthy relationship dynamic. Okay. When you're codependent, you're trying to do everything. You can't do everything. You are going to burn the F out. Yes, you're going to burn out. And the reality is when it comes to sex, you want it to be mutual. It doesn't matter whether you're dating somebody. It doesn't matter whether you've been in a long-term relationship with somebody, you've been married. You want sex to be a mutual experience. So looking at this for yourself, what are you comfortable with? And if you're not okay with somebody doing something or initiating some sex or whatever, I said some sex, something I was going to say, then okay, you need to take a step back. How do you want to address something when you are not feeling in the mood or you're not feeling okay about something? Or maybe you tried something sexually. And yes, this could be exploring with the person you're dating, exploring with your long-term partner, and you're like, let's try this like thing out. And you didn't like it, but your partner did. And you're like, hey, I'm going to create a boundary. Like, I get that you're into it, but hey, I'm not. And I want to talk about this. And you have that there as like a little staple to be like, yeah, I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to hold myself accountable and have boundaries around sex so that I'm not just sitting there being like, okay, fine, yeah, we can have sex when you don't want to have sex. Sex is a vulnerable act, right? So it can feel vulnerable to want to say no, right? You don't want to let the person down. Oh, they're not going to like me anymore. But it's not coming down to the sex. That is coming down to that codependency. That is coming down to those negative thoughts that codependency loves to put on us and make us feel like shit about and make us feel like our whole world is going to be ruined if we don't make this person happy. Because then what? Our lives wouldn't be happy. We wouldn't be happy. If you realize you've been saying yes to sex instead of no, and this is something that has happened more than once, this is a pattern. Awareness is 110% the first step, but awareness alone is not going to stop or fix this. And honestly, this is where most people, unfortunately, stay stuck. And this is exactly why I work with clients on getting out of these patterns so you do not have to stay stuck in these anymore. So you can finally live the life for you and be in a freaking awesome, healthy relationship, dating ship, situationship, all the ships out there. The ship has sailed. We're done. Loved this episode? Rate it 5 stars, hit that subscribe button, baby, and leave a review. Do you want to work with me? Grab my dating courses, apply for my coaching at carlaromo.com or find it all in the show notes, and give me a little follow at I am Carla Romo on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Catch you next time and stay tuned. Carla Turned On is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is not a substitute for therapy. For professional support, please reach out to a licensed mental health provider.